What's up, you guys? It's Julian. Today, I'm excited to be showing you how to do Speed Garage in the style of YUQT and Different. You can get this entire Ableton project, the samples, the MIDI, the presets, the little vocal sample even, at the top of the description on my website. Make sure to go grab that. It helps support me, and it gives you a great template to make your own tracks. Let's dive in. Now, we're at 145 BPM. This stuff's a little faster, maybe anywhere from like 140 to 150. And the first thing we got here is this little stab. So this is your classic kind of like brass stab, you know, orchestra kind of. Right? The cool thing with this is you can hear there's a little movement, and we're kind of working with that. So just showing you what's going on without any effects. Right? You can see I pitched it down to get it in key with the bass and stuff. Just right onto that root note. So that's the first thing. And then when you pitch it down, you get a little bit more, like it slows down that movement, and it kind of fits really well with the beat. It's like, you know, you can hear that. For the effects, what we're doing here is, first off, there's a bit of OTT, which is really good for just taking it from this like deeper to this. Right? It just really brings out the mid-range and high end. Plus, I got a bit of delay. An EQ, which is cutting out all the low end that the OTT adds, plus boosting even more high end. And a lot of times I would definitely say not to EQ like this, like not do huge boosts. But in this case, for a sound design EQ, there's a difference between like just mixing EQ and then actual sound design EQ. In this case, I would consider this sound design using the EQ to like really design the sound. So in that case, boosting is fine. And then finally, we just sidechain it to the kick. And when I sidechain, you notice I'm using the filter here. So if you actually listen, we're just sidechaining to that top end of the kick. And you get a tighter sidechain as opposed to if you don't have that. See, it just kind of sucks out the whole sound. Then we got this vocal atmos. So these things are really popular in this style of music. And the way that you do it is you basically take a vocal. What I got here is this one. Do you want me? I took that me. And you can see I stretched it out a bit. Plus I pitched it to be in key. Right? Like you could literally just do this where it gets like longer. Even like that is cool too, right? Just play around with it in this case. But yeah, you can hear it getting like stretched. Plus I pitched it up a bit. Then you reverb it out, like you're going to do 100% wet reverb, and bringing the size down helps too. See how it kind of focuses it? You don't necessarily need to do that every time, but it can really help to get this tighter sound. And then it just becomes this nice atmosphere, which basically what's happening is there's like that note and it's kind of bending. Like it's like that, and then you reverb it. And it's tuned so it's still in key with everything. But you get a really cool atmosphere kind of sound, and then it gets reverbed out. We're cutting out the low end on that. Notice I made sure to leave this sort of like fundamental frequency. And then sidechain it. Same thing with the high pass on the sidechain. So then we got the bass line. And there's some crazy science with this. So the first thing is just going to be the pattern. Now, the way, these can seem really complicated, but the way that you're going to do these is you need to first define a chord progression. So in this case, like I'll literally just bring up a piano and show you the chord progression on this one, which would be, in this case, it's F minor, C minor, C sharp major, and then D sharp major. So it's like a very basic F minor progression, right? Like, I'll just click it in so you can really see what's happening. So it would be this chord progression. Right? It's like that. And usually it's happening that fast like that. Like if you play this with the bass line, you can see. Right, that's the chord progression. And then what you're going to do is you're going to define your chord progression, whether you want to do it like that or just do it in your head. It depends on really like what works for you. And then you're just creating this rhythm around that using the root notes of the chords. That's all this is. Like this whole thing, there's not really anything crazy. It's just the root notes of the chords that are playing in these parts, right? F, C, C sharp, and then D sharp. Right, so then really the way you get a lot of swing is with these octave jumps too. Right, like goes dun 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 dun, like that. But it's all just the root note. The other thing that I noticed too is, see how none of the notes touch each other? I noticed that in these tunes that a lot of the time you're not hearing it, but it's like the notes are a little bit tight and punchy like this. Even you can make it a little shorter, you know, but it's a very fine line. Right, so it's just a subtle thing when the notes aren't fully touching each other, and you get kind of a little more groove out of it. And you can also swing it out more too, like if you turn this up. Right, but also I like having that just be really tight like that too. And then for the sound, what we're doing here is it starts as this operator patch, so I'm going to turn off all of the processing that's going on. We have this. So what it is, it's two sine waves FMing each other. One is an octave up and detuned a bit. Right, you can hear the melody a lot more that way. Then we low pass that. And by default, this frequency key is going to be on, which is basically going to key track it. I turned that off so that the frequency is the same no matter what note you play. You could have that on too. Right, like that sounds nice as well, but for this bass, I just kept it. And then what I did is I actually sent it through a return here. And what the return is doing is basically first we're saturating a bit, and you can hear getting a bit more of that like kind of crunchy bass, right? So we're basically using the sinoid fold to get kind of like that more straightforward UK FM bass kind of sound. Then I'm high passing out all the lows, and I've got chorus on that. So this is how you can make a wider bass, is you basically have this like layer here with the return, which has the chorus only on the highs since I cut out the lows. And then just another high pass to make sure we're good. And then you get this super wide bass. But it doesn't mess up the bass because you're still hearing like the full clean low end sub layer. You just have this extra kind of layer, quote unquote, that's really a return that gives it the width, right? Because it's very challenging to get a bass like this, which is so deep and subby, and then still have it be a bit wide, which you hear in a lot of these tracks. This is how they're doing it. Then I sidechain that to the kick. And then on the main bass, I've also got a sidechain and a tiny subcut. Cool. Then we've got our drums. Now, as always, these got to start with 3 layers: the kick, the clap, and the hi-hat. Now, if you notice, these are all very punchy, but very short sounds. So for the kick, I've got this one. You can see it sounding like that, and then to give it some power, I've cut a little bit of low end. And then added the saturator, which you can hear just really brings it out and makes it hit really hard on top of the mix. We have our clap. Again, shorter, but very, very punchy. And then the hi-hat, which is like really short. You can see I literally just cut that sample down to be super short. I pitched it down -1, and then you have this really tight groove, which is just going to sit on top of all those drums and kind of hold it all down. Then we got some background percussion, which I'm going to play with the hi-hat and the kick so you can really hear it. So we got this hi-hat kind of just steadily going. off the main one. And then we've got these rim shots. And yeah, I want you to see how frequently these are happening too. Like, it's not just one little rim shot. It's not just a little, it's like constant. This is a lot of the groove in these tracks, especially because you have this bass line which is so long and held out. So then these rim shots and stuff. Right, that's what's creating a lot of the groove. There's no processing on those, but it's just very important to have quite a bit of them. And then also you see I've got this one here where it's the same one, but I just pitched it up +5 on the last hit. So you can kind of get a lot more mileage out of one rim shot this way. Because it sounds like a different rim shot, but it's just the same one pitched. Then we've got a bit of percussion loops. I think these are very important. And you'll see because we have our drums and they're good. But you need that like kind of chunky like layer. Just like that you can really only get by using these loops. And the secret to this is stacking them and then just knowing how to keep them under control. So on their own they sound like this. What we got here is we got this one, this one, and this one. You can see they all do different things. Like, I'm going to go ahead and turn the high pass on. But see, they come together as one loop. And that's really the magic with these, is just knowing how to layer them, which is really just using your ear. Like, this one is very mid-rangey. This one is very much in, like, the upper high end. So you put those together. And then this one kind of fits in between those. So you start to put this all together. And it really creates one thing. That's really the secret there. Is yes, it is loops. They're crucial to the sound, but it's really how you use them and how you put a few together that are going to complement each other and not just kind of mindlessly stacking these. So then on the group there, I put them all into one high pass filter. As you can see, is up pretty high because you don't want this to clash with the bass. Like, a lot of people make the mistake where they bring it down a bit. See how it's kind of in that same spot as the bass, especially with like this return layer. But then you bring it up. You can even go higher too, really. And it's right out of the way of the bass. And then also this auto pan here. And this just kind of simulates the side chaining. So it stays under the kick, but I like using like a volume shaper like this instead of just side chaining for stuff like percussion because it just kind of keeps it a little more controlled and a bit tighter. So that is going to be it for this one, guys. That's how you make Speed Garage in 2025. Thank you very much for the support. Make sure to check out this template and the samples, the MIDI, the presets, all that's available at the top of the description on my website. For just $5, you can get a really awesome Speed Garage template and make the best track of your life instantly. There's not a lot you can do to do that instantly, but if you get this template, you really can. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.